David Lynch, he made this mind-blowing, shocking entry into the world of cinema with this film. It was his first feature film. People were shocked. Some people believe that Eraserhead is a horror film. Some believe that it is a psychedelic nightmare.
Some people thought it was a comedy film. I mean, it has its comic tones to it, for sure.
And then there are people who believe that it is a deeply spiritual and even Christian film. David Lynch has answered a lot of questions about several films from his filmography, but he has been extremely secretive with respect to Eraserhead. And that has only increased the mystery around the film. And now, ladies and gentlemen, Sid Devan and Satyanshu Singh are trying to pretend that they that they know what Eraserhead is. Yeah. When it comes to Eraserhead, I can't help but believe that the film talks about a man's guilt and a man's hatred for something. The film actually talks about premarital sex. It talks about a man who made love with a girl and perhaps they were not in love. Both were socially awkward loners. We don't see all of this. All of this is in backstory. And they made love and the girl got pregnant and then they were forced to marry. And then they had a child. Nursing that child, taking care of that child becomes a nightmare for the parents. The girl eventually leaves and this man is taking care of the child. Okay, I won't reveal anything further. There's not much to reveal in the story anyway, but I believe that the film has a lot to talk about the guilt of being irresponsible, the guilt of not being ideal parents, and also a hatred that you feel for an unwanted child. There are a lot of themes in the film, but I believe that these themes are important and we have to look at these themes. Going back to the opening sequence of the film, I feel that the opening sequence is showing us sexual intercourse. It is showing us a man mating with a woman. It shows a male gamete, a spermatozoa, something that you see a creature-like thing coming out of the man's mouth, right? And then it travels, right? Students of biology would know that after ejaculation, sperm travels through the reproductive tract of the female, and the egg is waiting for the sperm. And the sperm enters the egg, fertilizes the egg. When the sperm enters the egg, it becomes insignificant. It transfers its genetic information, half of the nucleus, and then it disappears. And it is the egg that takes over. I believe the opening sequence shows us sexual intercourse and fertilization. The bright pond is actually an egg waiting for the sperm. The sperm enters the pond and then we see bubbles in water. That is when fertilization takes place, and that is almost like a nightmare. This man pulling the plugs is the bad guy inside us. It is that side of us that we don't want to see. And this guy is pulling plugs, controlling us and making us ejaculate. Okay. And we don't want to look at that. We don't want to witness that, but we are haunted by our past. We are haunted by what we have done. So after fertilization, we see this strong fade to white. And this white screen fades onto the face of this man looking back at something. He's looking back at what he has done, something that he can't run away from. That is when the real space of our film starts. That is when we enter the real life of this man, and he enters this huge tunnel where he is an insignificant, almost like a comic character, a non-hero who can't do shit in his life. He's not responsible at all. He enters this tunnel and our story begins. So as far as the story is concerned, this is my interpretation of this. Of course, there can be various other ways, and there's no way we'll ever find out.
No, yeah, it's funny because I had a completely different take on it.
Well, go ahead.
I actually thought that because the whole film goes into a lot of dream sequences and fantasy sequences, and there's a very thin line which you'll see in every Lynch films. There's a very thin line between dream and reality, to the point that they're almost intermingling and you don't know when are we real and when are we not real. Yeah. I felt that opening was like a inside of the protagonist. I mean, you see that he's horizontal in the frame and this black like a planet, because I don't know, it felt like a planet to me, which is probably the inside of him. Which is like this round, it's night, it's dark, everything is broken, everything they introduce has cracks. on the planet, you see a lot of these holes and cracks to the point that it goes into a complete black. And then you see this little structure which has a little hole in its roof, and you go inside that structure and you see this diseased man, this broken man, seeing through this broken glass and launching sperms. It's, I don't know, I felt like it's all like inside him, like, it's like inside of this character which he's showing, which is so lonely and which is so nocturnal. And it's almost like the mental space is being expressed in a physical form. Lynch, I've always felt, even from his paintings and all, he's always tried to express the mental space into a physical reality. And the entire film is designed like that.
I can safely tell you that it is the strangest film you'll watch. And if you believe that what you just saw was strange, you don't know what's coming up next. Now that I have been, I've been a student of cinema for more than a decade now, I realize that many films are strange, but not many films have such a strong artistic aesthetic quality. When I think of Eraserhead, two things come to my mind immediately. One is the soundscape, the sound of the film. Try to watch it with good sound system. But more than sound, something that is unique, and Sid will talk more about it, is textures. Eraserhead is a film you can almost touch. Cinema has explored a lot. Cinema has explored color, cinema has explored music, cinema has explored performances and themes and politics and so many human experiences. But very rarely a film has actually explored with such sincerity textures. Just in these 6 minutes, we saw so many different textures, right? Skin and cracked skin and diseased skin and hair, liquid and slimy things and mud and iron and broken glass.
I mean, one of the reasons where black and white was a choice, and it was a very strongly treated black and white, because I think what it beautifully did was it took out color as an element, and you only focus on texture, and you only focus on the contrast and the tonalities that you're creating. What you're saying is right. There is, and this is just the beginning. Once you get into the film, there are so many more textures which are explored, but in a very broken way. Everything is diseased and broken. In fact, almost every character which is introduced in the film is diseased. All of them, like everything is broken, everything is diseased. Also, like very well explored in the film and production design, that the opening is the inside out. It's the inside of him becoming the physical space. Because in the film also, there are a lot of the times the same spaces are seen in a different way. His room that is shown, there's only one window from that room, and through the film you see just a brick wall in front of it. There is no view. There is only one time in the film that he goes to the window and looks outside, and outside also he sees two people, like one person like running after another one and trying to kill him. There's a homicide. I think like even this dream sequences he goes into, of this girl who's also diseased. She lives in the radiator of his house. So, I mean, I don't know, all these little elements make me feel more like the entire, the physical reality of the film is actually the mental space of the character.